Imagine watching the largest ship you've ever seen, slowly, almost impossibly, gliding beneath one of Europe's most iconic bridges with just meters to spare. The crowd holding its breath, cameras clicking, the sheer scale of the moment defying belief. That is exactly what happened when the brand new Legend of the Seas made her passage beneath the legendary Great Belt Bridge in Denmark, one of the most dramatic and breathtaking nautical spectacles of the year. The massive 248,663 gross ton vessel, stretching nearly 365 meters from bow to stern, passed beneath the bridge's towering span with extraordinary precision, as onlookers gathered on the shoreline to witness history in motion. Crew members lined the decks, cheering and waving, while thousands of people around the world watched the footage in absolute awe. It was the kind of scene that makes you stop scrolling and simply stare. Royal Caribbean's third Icon-class cruise ship has officially departed Finnish waters and is already making impressive progress on her journey south. At this very moment, the Legend of the Seas is navigating through the English Channel, one of the world's busiest and most famous stretches of water, passing between the coasts of England and France on her way to Spain. Just days ago, she was cutting through the North Sea, and now she is threading through the Channel, a spectacular sight for anyone lucky enough to spot her from the shoreline. The Legend of the Seas is not just another ship. She is a floating city, a technological marvel, with the capacity to accommodate nearly 7,600 guests at a time. People who will live, eat, explore, and create memories that will last a lifetime. And right now, she is heading south toward her next chapter, and very soon, toward yours. After her dramatic departure from the Meyer Turku shipyard on Thursday, June 18, 2026, the Legend of the Seas set course for Cadiz, Spain, approximately 2,700 nautical miles away. Expected to arrive in the historic Spanish port city late in the evening of Wednesday, June 24th, the ship will undergo a final round of outfitting and preparation, a critical stage in which the last finishing touches are applied throughout her decks. Artwork is carefully installed, cabin furniture is arranged, provisions and supplies are loaded to feed and serve thousands of guests per voyage, and the final crew members join their nearly 2,350 international colleagues on board. Because before this ship can welcome her first guests, every single detail must be absolutely, flawlessly perfect. And what does perfect look like on the Legend of the Seas? Think a vessel packed with world-class restaurants, dazzling entertainment venues, pools, thrilling attractions, and experiences that push the very definition of what a cruise can be. Royal Caribbean didn't build the Icon class to play it safe. They built it to redefine luxury at sea, and the Legend of the Seas is the latest, most refined expression of that bold ambition. For those dreaming of stepping aboard this extraordinary ship, here is what you can expect to pay. Prices for a 7-night Mediterranean cruise start at approximately $700 to $1,100 per person for an interior cabin, rising to $1,200 to $2,000 per person for a balcony stateroom. Suite experiences, offering the ultimate in luxury and private amenities, begin at around $3,000 per person and can exceed $10,000 per person for the most exclusive accommodations on board. Caribbean itineraries tend to be slightly more affordable, with inside cabins starting from around $500 to $900 per person. Keep in mind that these are base fares. Drinks packages, specialty dining, shore excursions, and gratuities are typically additional costs. Royal Caribbean frequently runs promotions and early booking deals, so booking well in advance can result in significant savings. Her inaugural passenger voyage is set for Saturday, July 4th, 2026, departing from Civitavecchia, the gateway port of Rome, Italy. The maiden cruise is a 7-night Western Mediterranean sailing, calling at Marseille, France, Barcelona, Spain, Palma de Mallorca, Spain, and La Spezia, Italy, before returning to Rome. For those fortunate enough to be on board for her very first official sailing, this is a once-in-a-lifetime experience, the rare privilege of being part of maritime history as it is made. Following her debut voyage, the Legend of the Seas will continue operating from Rome, completing a total of 4 sailings out of Civitavecchia before expanding her Mediterranean schedule to include departures from both Barcelona and Rome throughout the season. This spectacular Mediterranean chapter will run through mid-October 2026, giving travelers all summer long the opportunity to discover the world's most iconic coastlines, cities, and cultures, all while calling one of the world's greatest ships their temporary home. But the adventure does not stop there. On October 25, 2026, the Legend of the Seas will embark on her first ever Transatlantic Crossing, a 13-night voyage sailing from Europe to Port Everglades in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. This crossing marks the beginning of the ship's Caribbean chapter, and it promises to be every bit as spectacular as her Mediterranean season. Based in Florida, the Legend of the Seas will offer 6- and 8-night Caribbean itineraries exploring the Western and Southern Caribbean. And every single sailing will include a stop at Royal Caribbean's legendary private island destination, Perfect Day at CocoCay in the Bahamas. Crystal clear turquoise waters, powdery white beaches, and thrilling island experiences, all accessible from the most impressive cruise ship on the seas. After a full Caribbean season, the Legend of the Seas will return to Europe in April 2027 for another long Mediterranean summer, followed by a return to her Florida home port in November 2027. Year after year, season after season, this extraordinary ship will visit the world's most coveted destinations, giving travelers everywhere the chance to step aboard something unlike anything they have ever seen. From her spine-tingling passage beneath the Great Belt Bridge in Denmark, to her triumphant arrival in Cadiz, her historic first sailing from Rome, and her Caribbean island adventures, every chapter of the Legend of the Seas story is worth following closely. So pay attention, because this is one journey you absolutely do not want to miss.